Hey everybody, Tim Howley here with the first episode of the Thrash Throttle Podcast. Most of you know me from my band Fit for an Autopsy, but I'm also the founder and co-owner of Tombstone Hardware. Over the last 13 years, I've been touring nonstop in bands, so I've made a lot of friends along the way. A couple years after I started touring, I dove head first into the motorcycle world. I got my first Sportster, and it was all downhill from there. What I wanted to do with this podcast was give you an inside look at what goes on in the motorcycle world, the touring world, and so on and so forth. What's cool about touring is that you meet so many people over the years and you build so many friendships that last forever, and the same thing goes to the motorcycle world. I can't tell you how many friends I've made over the years just because we share that one common interest and just because we wanted to talk shop. One of the reasons why I started Tombstone Hardware back in 2013 was because I wanted to start bringing more chopper events to Long Island. There were a lot of bike nights at local restaurants, but I felt like it was a contest to get as many street glides into one parking space as possible. I was still new to riding, so I didn't really know where to look to find cool chopper shows. Luckily, through the events that I did and through a couple friends, I started finding out about events like the Brooklyn Invitational, Indian Larry Block Party, and even on the West Coast you had things like Born Free that I had no idea about. I can't tell you how many bike shows I went to with my dad when I was a kid, whether it be the Harrisburg Swap Meet or the Jersey Giant, but they weren't the same. Now that I'm neck deep in it, it's really cool to look back and see how I got where I am. People that I've either met at swap meets or motorcycle shows have been so helpful with almost everything, whether it be setting up events or helping with my bike. It's kind of crazy how nice people are when you get to know them. Honestly, the same thing goes for being on the road. DIY touring for the first 6 or 7 years of my career really showed me how to figure shit out on my own. Unfortunately, most people that I encountered over those years were fucking assholes, and they didn't want to help anybody because they felt that it would make them lose their spot in line. Now it's a little bit different. I feel that so many bands help each other out because they don't want to see them make the same mistakes that they did when they were younger. The same goes for the older biker generation teaching younger kids what to do and what not to do when you're working on your bike. When you think about it, music is one of the oldest forms of expression, and I feel that motorcycles adopted that mentality early on. Whether you're writing chaotic music or you're building some whacked out fucking bike, it's still an extension of your personality. With all that said, let's get back to this fucking podcast. I'm still new to this whole thing, so the quality isn't going to be great at first, but eventually we'll get there. My first guest is my man Andrew from the band I Am. He's one of my favorite frontmen. Dude is absolutely insane, and he also just happens to ride motorcycles. So let's get into it.
Badass.
How you doing, dude?
Doing alright. Just working in the garage right now.
Yeah, staying alive?
Yeah. Staying alive with being quarantined.
How's everything down by you guys?
I mean, I haven't been noticing a lot of change just because I still work, because I do like outside construction shit, so everything's the same for me, just less traffic.
Yeah, like I got a buddy of mine that does boilers and HVAC work, and I mean he's still busy, you know.
Yeah, it's busier than ever now. I feel like because people are home, so they see us working on these houses and shit, so they're like, oh, I need to get shit on my house done.
Well, yeah, now that everybody has time on their hands, they want to figure out how they can spruce up their house.
Dude, yeah, speaking of that, like anytime I have to go to Home Depot, it is a fucking madhouse.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like over 200 people in the store at the time, and like everybody's running around getting shit. All these fucking 50-year-old dads.
Well, yeah, now they have time.
It's fucking crazy.
Dude, it's weird. I guess because I have more time on my hands, you know, obviously I'm not working. I still do the leather work, but like, you know, I don't have a regular job at home. So right now it's like, all right, I'll do the podcast. I'll get more stuff done for Tombstone. I'll get more leather work done. I'll write more riffs. I'll do all the stuff that I really didn't have the time to do beforehand. You know, now, shit, I don't know when the next time we're going on tour is, you know?
That's what I'm saying. Like, at least now, like, we're at least creativity-wise, like, it's a good time for musicians to be at home, you know, because you got all the time in the world to work on shit.
Well, yeah, exactly. Next year is going to be pretty wild as far as releases go.
Oh, dude, everybody's going to be releasing. Everybody's going to be trying to tour. It's going to be nuts.
It's going to be so oversaturated, but it'll be fun. It'll definitely be fun.
I think people will be more up to come out because they've been locked inside so long, you know,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
falling out to a lot of shit.
So, I mean, next up on the list for you guys is that Kubla Khan tour in Europe, right?
Yeah, in September. So we're kind of. I mean, everything, you know, as of now, it's still on.
Yeah, we have stuff lined up as well. You know, I mean, I hope that we can get things back in order by then. You
Y'all had
know?
those summer festivals in Europe.
Yeah, so we had the summer fests lined up, and as of right now, I think Germany just extended the cease or kind of like the quarantine until July. So we don't know what's fully going on with that.
Yeah, that's it. I think that's the worst part about all this is just everything's so in the air. It's just like you can't like plan really.
Oh, nobody knows.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
That's that's definitely the worst part. But yeah, besides that, I just wanted to, ask you a couple questions about how you got started with the music thing and how you got started with the motorcycle thing and stuff like that. That's kind of what I'm doing with this podcast. So, when did I Am become a thing?
Um, Probably around 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2011 is when we like played our first show or whatever. But when we started, we were just some high school kids and didn't really thought it was cool. And played a few shows for like 2 years and then stopped playing shows for like another year. And then played some more shows. And like it was never like a that's why I always say this to everybody, like this was never supposed to happen to me, like all this shit, because like I never like imagined it would go to where it was, because when we started doing this, it was just like we just heard heavy music and we're stoked about it because it's fucking some shit we've never heard before. So let's play some music. None of us really knew what the fuck we were doing with our instruments, so it's just like I don't know. We just started out just having fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how it always starts out. You always want to have fun and you always want to do it, just for the shits. You never, obviously you have dreams and hopes and stuff.
That start solely, for the purpose to, get big and, play these crazy gigs. There are a few cases where, some kids get lucky with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, there's a lot of people that start out thinking that, they're going to be the most famous band in the world and stuff like that, which, listen, having those hopes and dreams is amazing, but a lot of people don't realize what goes into it and, the amount of time and preparation and stuff like that really goes into turning your band into what, all the bands that we looked up to have turned their bands into.
Exactly. They want the glory, but they don't want to do the work to get there.
Exactly. Yeah, I remember hearing about you guys for the first time, probably like, I don't know, 2016-ish. Because you guys were well off into making your rounds around Texas and stuff like that. And
So, yeah, I think 2015 is when we first started like touring, which
yeah,
wasn't, a lot, but, that's when we started getting around.
yeah, exactly. Danny DeFonts, who I've known since, God, 2006 at least, 2006, 2007. I remember him posting about you guys playing at a show in Texas and just watching the crowd go absolutely apeshit. And obviously at that point, I've heard of you guys and I've listened to you guys, but I was like, wow, like maybe I didn't listen enough. Maybe I didn't spend too much time on it. And then, once obviously Hard to Kill came out, and once I started listening to you guys a little bit more, I was like, dude, this is wild.
Yeah.
And we toured together in, I believe it was 2018, which was, 6 months after Hard to Kill came out?
No, it was actually like, it was that month that it came out.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, it came out like that month.
You know what? Okay, I remember.
So we did the first half of that month with Ingested, And then the second half of that month was with y'all and Unearthed.
Yes, you guys recorded at Graphic Nature. So I remember the reason why I heard you guys and I heard the record is because at that point I was at the studio all the time because, we were touring full time. So I remember listening and hearing your guys' record months before it came out because Randy did it, correct?
Yeah.
So I remember sitting there and him being like, yo, you got to listen to this. And just sitting down and being like, what the fuck?
That's sick. Yeah, Randy's the fucking man.
Oh, he's great, dude.
I don't think I could ever work with another producer because he's just, I don't know, he's so in tune with your fucking music and he gives a shit,
Well, yeah. That's what makes a great producer and a great engineer is just like somebody that sits there and like you don't just want somebody to tell you what to do. Like you want that extension of your band so that they know your sound, they know what you guys are going for, they know what you're trying to achieve. And obviously it worked out perfect for you guys.
Oh, no, yeah, 100%.
That record, when that record dropped, everybody was like, whoa.
That was the first time where, like, people who didn't notice us before did, whether it was good or bad, they noticed us.
I mean, I know how I received the record. I thought the record was top notch. You guys have grown exponentially since then, so I'm assuming that the reception was fantastic.
Yeah, that was like where it was nothing like it was before. Like, because before that we had Life We Torment, and like that was just kind of, just us writing, and that was our old guitarist writing that record, and so we kind of just finished off what he was doing.
Yeah. And
whenever we started writing Hard to Kill, Tommy was full in the band, and that was full free reign of like, we need you to create I Am, so like he definitely did that with that. So I feel like, I hate saying this because it almost sounds like it's like real fucking cocky and douchey, but it's like, I feel like there's not a whole lot, if anything, that sounds like Hard to Kill with the kind of mix or whatever that we do. It's just very like raw and unique in its own way that not a lot of bands do something like that,
Yeah, of course. That's all about, finding your sound and finding what works best for you. And obviously, when I listen to you guys, I hear certain bands. I hear elements from certain bands, and I hear what you guys take from those bands and turn into your own.
Yeah,
which,
exactly.
Again, that's why I like you guys, and I like listen to your band nonstop is because you guys take that. And the fact that Tommy's super young as well, and the fact that he is kind of like a sponge when it comes to music, he's the perfect candidate for writing cool stuff because he's listening to so many different things, and he's not jaded by anything yet. He doesn't turn around and say, oh, well, that's not cool, so I'm not going to write like that. Or, I don't like these types of riffs because, so-and-so doesn't think it's cool. He just wants to write the heaviest shit, which is cool.
And that's something I feel like we pride ourselves on, too, is that, like, we've never tried or done, like, what was cool or what was, trendy at the time. Because, like, a lot of bands do that nowadays. And, I never wanted to be a band that did that, I wanted to have our thing and we stick to it.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I feel like that's the only way to make this shit long lasting, not just like a 5-year stint and then you're done.
Yes. A lot of people want to go off the flavor of the month. A lot of people want to say, oh, well, this band is doing real well right now, so let me try and piggyback off of what they're doing and piggyback off of their success by doing something similar or doing the same thing. And it honestly doesn't work for most bands,
And because, what it does is that you get all these fans from this record, and then from the next record, you get, a different set of fans, and the other one, a different set of fans, but you only get those, generational things where, you're only going to have those certain people coming out for those certain records.
Exactly.
So it's like, you're never going to grow to where all those same people are liking all the same records,
Yes, where, you have certain bands where, like you said, they'll go from one style to another style to another style, and the people that really vibes with the first record are going to turn around and say, you know what, I can't do this. The new stuff is just so far gone that they can't deal with it. They don't want to listen to it.
It happens sometimes. There are bands that do it and are successful.
Oh, for sure.
But for the majority, and like I don't know, I feel like it's more of like a pride thing too. Like you sticking to your guns. Like this is what you fucking play.
Yeah. And then you also have bands that I feel are different enough from record to record, but are still consistent.
Yeah.
To where, they're massive now because you still have fans that love them from that first record that are coming to shows 15, 20 years later and can still get into their new record, even though it's a little bit different.
Exactly. And that's not to go get it twisted that I'm saying, make the same record over and over again, because like Life Through Torment and Hard to Kill, they sound very different, but they still have flavor, in between them.
Exactly.
It's not polar opposites.
Yes, they still have that. They still have that side to them where it's like, all right, well, this is just a little bit different, or even, different enough to where it still keeps interest, but it's not so different to where people are totally turned off by it.
Yeah, exactly. When y'all did, had Hellbound out, with this, Sea of Tragic Beasts, it's a really good progression of you have that style, that Fit for an Autopsy style, but it's still different enough to be like, it's not the same fucking record as Hellbound.
Of course, like that's the thing, like the way Will writes is like he wants a progression, but he doesn't want such a progression that it'll completely turn off people from or fans from old records. Which that's one part about being in a band is trying to retain that fan base, even though you're trying to progress as a band and progress musically.
Progress doesn't always mean, you have to change everything about what you're doing.
Exactly.
I feel like a lot of people think.
Yeah, you have a band like Trivium, right? And Trivium, from their first record to their records now, they're not completely different, but they're different enough to where it still piques interest. And I was a massive fan of their first two records because that was the era that I got into heavy music.
Yeah.
And for a while, going mid to late 2000s and even into the early 2010s, it was more the fact that I just fell out of, listening to them because they just weren't on my radar. Once we toured with them and they came back around onto my radar, I was like, holy shit, this new stuff is awesome. And it made me go listen to that full progression. And I thought it came out awesome.
I feel like that's the coolest part is like you can see it, with album to album. You're like, damn, okay, like I see where they were trying to go when they were writing this. Like it's not just a straight shot in the dark.
Exactly. Actually, when this episode airs, they would have put out their new record. Their record comes out Friday, but this is going to air next week. So, but yeah, they, put out a new record, and I heard tracks 5 months ago, and I was legit blown away. I was like, this is heavy shit. For them, it was like, I was like, holy shit, dude, this is sick. But transitioning, what are you working on in your garage?
So right now I have a little online store with, it's like kink toys that I make.
Yeah.
I haven't like really promoted it on any pages. I just have it on my like Etsy store, and I get a few orders a month. And it's like they're like spreader bars, like woodworking stuff. But it's called Carnal Desires Texas. So, but I think I'm gonna start actually promoting it, get a few more orders in.
Fuck yeah.
I just enjoy doing it. It's nice.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you know what? If you have the time, and you have the ability to do stuff like that, I feel like that's a market that not a lot of people talk about. And it's definitely a market that, even though not a lot of people talk about it, a lot of people are in that scene.
I feel like, just the curiosity alone will kind of get your interest going, if you're curious about something, try it.
I 100% agree. Me doing the leatherwork stuff, I've gotten certain commissions for whether it be a collar or, something else like that. And, if that's what people want, just give it to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm
You know?
saying. Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't go against your complete moral compass, then, if you have the ability to make something for somebody and it's going to make them super stoked, then why not?
I feel like everything starts off with curiosity. That's how everybody. That's how you get into bikes. That's how you get into music. That's how you get into leatherwork. It's all curiosity. So.
Oh, for sure. I just feel that there's so many people that are so shy about that stuff, and so it's not something that a lot of people talk about. People aren't open about that stuff. So I feel like if people were a little bit more open about that stuff, it would be it would be more beneficial for a lot of people.
And maybe this is a way for people to help do that.
Yeah, for sure. Who knows? Somebody could listen to this podcast and be like, oh, let me check this out. Go to your Etsy page, buy a bunch of stuff, and then who knows? 10 years down the line, they could be literally full force into that subculture, and this is that gateway.
It could be that thing they're missing,
Yeah, exactly. What are you working on bike-wise? Are you still doing that shovel?
Yep. Right now, I'm actually getting a lot of shit done on it. I got a 76 shovel that I'm working on right now, and I just redid the whole springer. I'm waiting on some pike nuts to come in so I can finally, assemble the full thing.
That's awesome.
It was an old Columbus springer, and it looked like shit. So I reshaped the top clamp to where it had some curves, nice little things, and
nice.
Got the tranny rebuilt. I haven't sealed it at all yet because I'm waiting I want to make sure it all runs and shifts through all the gears and everything before I seal it up. So yeah, other than that, it's just a clutch pedal right now. I'm just kind of got a little parts here and there, but I've been working on it a lot since I've been home.
What originally got you into bikes? Because I know for me, like my dad has been into motorcycles since I was a kid, but like I just never got into it. It just was never my thing. I liked cars and stuff like that, but I didn't really understand the bike thing until I want to say 19, 20 years old, and my dad was working on his bike, and he has an 80s shovel. So he's like, yo, go for it, sit on it. And he turned it over, and I'm sitting there and I was like, all right, I kind of get it now.
That sealed me in.
Yeah. What was that one thing that like got you into bikes? Was it one thing? Was it a multitude of things?
Yeah, so I was always, because my dad had, little bikes here and there. Nothing like that I could write home or talk about or, remember. But I always remember watching like, the OCC chopper shows and shit. And I was like, oh, like those are badass. Like I want a chopper as a kid. I've always had this like affection towards bikes. Never really enough to like go and get one and, make the extra step. But I have a couple buddies over here that ride. They started chopping their bikes. One of my buddies had an iron head, and there's a couple sporties that they were chopping up. And I went to go hang out with them, and I was like, man, this is fucking sick. Like I want to start doing this. So went and got my license, and then next day I went and bought a bike, rode it home.
Holy shit. Somebody that actually went and got their license before they got their fucking motorcycle.
Well, yeah, because I didn't know how to ride,
dude.
So I was like, well, I need to fucking learn how to ride.
I can't tell you how many of my friends turned around and were like, yo, we need you to ride with us because we don't have our licenses. All they had was their permits. Yeah. So they would get their permit and then ride around on their bikes. Bro, I had friends that had their permits for like 3 years that just would renew. They would just pay the $60 or $70 to renew their permit, and they would just never schedule the road test.
Oh my God.
So finally it got to the point where I'm like, yo, like I can't go around and just have you guys, piggybacking off of my license. Finally, there was a couple of them that asked me to use my bike because their bikes wouldn't have passed inspection, or if they showed up on their bikes, the lady at the road test would have told him to kick rocks.
Yeah.
So a lot of my friends just had their permits forever and then never got their license.
Yeah, that's funny as shit. Yeah, I
But
just
yeah,
had
that's
nobody
sick.
that could teach me, because I had my friends, but they, they were all chopping their bikes, so they were either working on them or, they were choppers, and I was like, fuck, how am I going to learn to ride on that? I took the class, and I was like, all right. Next day, went and bought a bike, and then my wife went on the back of it with me down like 60 miles of road with no sissy bar, barely a backseat. I'm like, you're fucking. Now I think about it, like, you're fucking stupid. Why the hell did you do that? I barely knew how to ride. I was dropping the clutch all the time.
That's funny.
Yeah, seeing those guys work on bikes, man, and let me tell you, bro, when I got that bike, 6 months I had that thing chopped out. Like, I was like, I say it ruined my fucking life because I delved into it so hard.
Oh yeah, you went head first.
Dude, yeah, like it took a hold of me.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a little bit different because I got into bikes, but I didn't really know anybody that rode motorcycles. Like, I had my dad, and my dad taught me, but at the time, I didn't really know anybody else that rode bikes. So for me, the way I met people was going to bike events or going here, going there. And once people realized that I had a bike, they were like, okay, this guy has a bike. Oh, my friend so-and-so has a bike. You guys should hang out. And, that's how I started meeting people. I feel like you came in the opposite way. Like, you already had friends that had bikes where, that's way easier.
Yeah, because there were friends that were in the music scene and kind of like strayed away from that and got into bikes.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like that. I already had that mutual connection.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, up here in New York, there's maybe a handful of guys that go to shows that ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't go hand in hand up here. Like, I feel in Texas, like, music and motorcycles go together way better than they do in New York. You get guys that ride up here, but the Long Island chopper scene is almost non-existent, which is kind of why I started the Tombstone stuff, because I wanted to do events. I wanted to, put on bike shows and get rides going and stuff like that, because, I couldn't find anything up here. New York City's a little bit different. There's kind of like a cluster of chopper dudes, especially in Brooklyn and stuff like that. You get to dudes that ran the Brooklyn Invitational, and you get, Indian Larry and stuff like that. But out on the island, you didn't really have anything crazy. So that was kind of like my answer. That's pretty much why I started it.
Yeah, that's sick.
And then it just kind of grew into, me going to shows and doing the t-shirt thing and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
and that's another thing where I feel like that's another, like, curiosity thing, because like they see you playing Fit for an Autopsy and they see, oh, what's this Tombstone Hardware thing? It's like, oh, bikes.
Exactly.
That could be the start of them fucking, liking bikes and shit.
Yeah, which is cool. Like, getting more people into riding and stuff like that. It's not something that I set out to do, but it's definitely a product of what I have been doing, and I love that. The fact that I'm able to share not only metal and heavy music and stuff like that, but I'm also able to share, building bikes and riding motorcycles and stuff like that with people that enjoy the same things that I do. It's, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny, like, talking about your lady on the back of your bike. It's just funny for me because my girlfriend Claudia has been interested in learning how to ride for, years at this point. But I don't have anything for her to ride because I'm not going to have her learn on my shovelhead, because that's like, I feel like that's just a little bit too much.
I have my girl take my my sporty chop around. It's got no front brake and everything. So like she was cruising around for like 20 minutes in first gear, not even on the throttle, just kind of feathering the clutch. Like, I was like, that's something. You keep it up, that's fine.
Yo, so check this out. So when I first started riding with my dad, and all that stuff kind of came full circle, and he started teaching me how to ride, uh, he was like, "Well, you're not going to learn on my shovel, because if you drop this thing, I'm going to kill you." So, he's like, "Hey, pony up half the cash. I'll go halves on a bike with you." And I got an 80 Ironhead. The thing was sick, and I should have kept it, but I was on tour and my dad's like, "Yo, I sold your bike." I'm like, "What the fuck?" But he found a dude that had a 2002 Sporty for less money than what he sold my Ironhead for.
Yeah.
So he bought the 2002 Sporty, push button, easy. Like, the thing it wasn't stock, but it was pretty much stock. And
custom, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I put some add-on, like, I changed the wheels, I changed the bars, I did,
Yeah.
I blacked out all the things that I could black out, and minor shit, no crazy fabrication or anything, but it was something that I could learn how to ride easily, because those bikes ride super simple.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, what year is your Sporty?
09.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you got that thing all chopped out, so it's a little bit different. I mean, mine, I would hop on mine. I used to live across the street from a train station, so I would just go up and down the aisles of the train station parking lot, and I would do that for hours just to get used to riding.
Yeah, because like when I first started, obviously I was riding with those guys, and like it takes me, 30 miles on a, freeway to get there. It's like I'd be doing that every fucking day. I'm terrified as shit, but I was like, no, fuck it.
Dude, there's still times when I'm like down in Florida and these dudes are trying to go from, say, my buddy Nick used to live about 20 miles south of Daytona. So we'd be going from destination Daytona up in Ormond Beach down to where he was at in Edgewater. And they're like, "Yo, let's take 95 back." I'm like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, like, my bike, it's a 98-inch shovel, which it's fine. It'll keep up. But,
It's an older
dude,
bike.
well, it's an older bike. Two, it's Florida. It's an interstate in Florida. These motherfuckers are going 90 miles an hour,
Yeah.
not caring about bikes. And even though it's like, all right, I have a helmet on, yo, I'm still not trying to deal with that.
I mean, you're still going 90 miles a fucking hour,
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll be sitting there doing, 65, 70, cruising along, and then you get a tractor trailer weighing 30,000 pounds that's barreling past me doing 80.
Blow you off the side of the highway.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, I'll take the back roads.
Yeah. There's some dudes that are over here, and they got all these sporty chops and shit. And dude, they're just blasting like 90, 100 down the highway, and I'm like I'm keeping up, but like dude, it's not fucking fun. I'm just like, dude, like why?
Yeah, I got a group of buddies up here, that I'm good friends with. That, like my buddy Pat, he used to ride with this group of friends of his that, they would invite me out, or he would invite me out on Tuesday nights. They would go riding, but I'm not trying to do 100 miles an hour, handlebar to handlebar, with 15 dudes. That's for me. For certain people, it's fun. For me, I can't do it. I gotta at least have a little bit of space in between people, and I gotta just chill and relax. Like, I enjoy the ride. I don't enjoy the speed. The speed, that thrill thing, not into it.
Fucking chopper, bro. I want to look cool and chill. That's it.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I first got into bikes, all these guys were like, "Oh, make it faster, faster, faster." And I think to myself, I'm like, "Well, how are girls going to see me riding by on my bike if I'm going 100 miles an hour? I got to cruise at an easy 20 through the center of a town,
looking badass,
looking like a badass." Exactly, Now it's a little bit different. Like, I'm past that point in my life, but I still don't see the need for the excessive amount of speed. It's just not me.
No, yeah, I don't get the thrill of going real fucking fast. It doesn't excite me.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm literally the same way.
just relaxing and cruising, that excites me.
Yeah, it was funny. A couple years back, so I'm out on Long Island. So me and a couple friends rode all of our bikes out to Montauk, which is about I'd say hour and a half, 2 hour ride. And it's a nice ride. It's kind of straight and it's somewhat boring until you get to the end. But a buddy of mine has a Lowrider S.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's got a 120R in it. It's either a 120 or a 124. Bro, this thing rips, right? But he had a Saddleman seat on it, and his girl was on the back. And, she was so uncomfortable that she's like, I'm thinking about renting a car to drive back. So he came up to me. He's like, look, do you mind if I ride your bike back and you could ride my Lowrider S back? Now, I love the Lowrider S. I think it's the best thing that Harley came out with in like the last 15 years. I just think it looked real good. The way my buddy Garrett had his set up, it was super nice. And I was like, you know what? Go for it. Because I had my dad's shovel, which my dad has an FXS, and he had the stock shovel head double up seat on it. So this thing rides like a fucking dream, So I was comfortable all the way out. On the way back, I'm sitting there and I'm riding on this Dyna, and I'm thinking about how fast it is. Bro, I cracked that throttle, and we were going 75, 80 on the way back. I cracked that throttle, and I felt that thing lift up, and I was in like 5th gear. And I was like, what the fuck? And it literally scared the shit out of me.
Performance bikes are wild, man.
Exactly. And I understand it, but again, for me, it's like I'd rather be cruising at 60 on my old shovel being comfortable as fuck, which again, it's those guys that ride baggers and are literally sitting on a fucking couch. I understand why guys are into that stuff, but it's just not my thing.
Yeah. And like I'm sure if I had the fucking disposable income, I'd probably get me one of them fucking, lazy boy choppers or lazy boy bikes, fucking just, relaxing.
Oh yeah.
Having a nice performance bike. But, like I'm broke motherfucker and I have to piece a bike together throughout a year,
Dude, you're telling me. Listen, man, you and I are living the same world.
Yeah.
It's funny, you're gonna be very upset with me. I'm almost positive that this week I'm trading my shovel for a 91 FXR.
I mean, the value in that's good though.
Well, yes. So, I mean, I'm giving him a bunch of extra parts, which will be cool.
Yeah.
But, my dad has his shovel, and which, by the way, I don't know if you ever saw the old brown that they used to use. It was kind of like a root beer brown that Harley used to paint their bikes. Dude, my dad found a matching rear fender and seat for this root beer colored tank that I have. I have a Super Glide tank that I got from my buddy Nick. So we're going to take his bike, which is all black now. Looks kind of like an FXS, and we're going to put all the FXE tins on it, and it's going to be like a root beer brown. The thing's going to look super fucking nice. But you know what? I need something that has a little bit more pep in it if I want to go for longer rides with Claudia on the back.
Yeah.
The shovel's comfortable, but at the same time, like I need a little tiny bit more giddy up when I got two people on the bike.
Yeah, I got you. I feel you. I don't have anything against FXRs. I think they're pretty cool. I've never seen a really ugly looking one.
Oh, dude, I will send you some pictures.
Yeah.
My man. Oh, I mean, if you think about it, people used to call it the ugly Harley. I was talking to my buddy Austin, which I don't know if you follow him. His name's Shovelhead Austin, dude out of New Jersey. He's one of the coolest fucking guys that I've ever met up here in New York. And, he's an older dude. He knows a lot of shit. He's been around the motorcycle scene for a long time. And he was saying how Harley dealerships used to take FXRTs, like the touring models, and they would tell their dealers, listen, here's the keys to this bike. Go ride it around for 6 months and dump it in a fucking lake. And they would literally give them away so that they could do insurance jobs on them. because they just sat there because everybody thought that they looked awful, you know?
Yeah.
And now a stock FXRT with, 3,000 original miles, showroom condition, is going to sell for 20 grand.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm saying. Like, the value in those is crazy.
What originally drew me to them was the fact that all the clubs around the country, that was the bike of choice because it handled so well.
Yeah.
And, dude, they were amazing. I mean, still to this day, I had an 82 FXR, which now, since I don't have to build, if I'm trading for this, I'm going to part it out. Dude, it handles better than any other bike that I've ever ridden.
Yeah, that's sick.
And, that's one thing that drew me to it. Plus, I think aesthetically they look real cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's something, like, I think they look pretty badass.
The 90s, like, tough guy style is definitely something that's way up my alley. But, I'm from New York, so, like, I see a 90s New York tough guy FXR, and I'm drooling.
Yeah.
But yeah, besides that, what else do you guys have planned for, the next year? Do you guys have any music coming out or anything like that?
So, right now everything's still planned for us to record in July. That's still kind of like on the fence. Graphic Nature doesn't know if they're gonna be shutting down borders or whatever, letting them cross or however weird that'll get. But as of now, that's still the plan. And then since that's getting pushed back to July, might be a early 21 release. And then
Nice.
I know we're talking about another tour in the fall after Europe, but that's still in the talks. So we're just kind of waiting on that. But after that, we ain't really got nothing.
Nothing super set.
No, because everybody's kind of tentative on, scheduling anything right now. It's kind of just, a waiting game at this point.
Yeah, with us, everything was pretty much going to be, we were supposed to be out every single month until October. We were going to have October, November, December off for either, writing or whatever, and then start back up again in early 21. But I feel like this is the first time since 2007 when I started touring that I honestly don't know when the next time I'm 100% going to play a show. We have tentative plans, and obviously we have stuff that's announced, but in a month from now, they could turn around and say, you know what, you can't play that show.
Yeah.
So
it feels like
we can only hope.
Shit goes on, the longer they're extending all these, quarantine days. It's like, fuck, man.
It's wild.
It's really fucking us.
It's funny. I kept posting, it's today's day, whatever of quarantine, and I would add something like I miss and then insert something that I know that everybody else knows that I hate. So I'd be like, oh, I miss sitting in traffic, or I miss watching the Islanders lose, or, stuff like that. Because it's weird, man. You kind of start missing those annoying things because that's what, your daily life is like. That's what is normal to you.
That's my wife, because my wife she hasn't been working because she's a makeup artist, so she can't work right now. And she says that shit all the time. Like, I miss the normal shit that I used to hate. Going to the grocery store now is her highlight of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Luckily I have a porch that I could sit on and just watch no cars go by.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a school across the street from my house, and there's been nobody at the school for, at least a month.
Yeah.
There's no traffic. There's no nothing. It's just, you're kind of just sitting there hanging out doing nothing.
Yep. Yeah. And I love it because I can still go to work and I don't have to fucking deal with traffic. I can still make some money.
It's definitely a weird time, but yeah, shit, man, that's about it. I want to thank you for literally being our first guest, or my first guest rather.
No, that's fucking sick, man. I appreciate you having me.
Anytime. One last thing that I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Give me a couple bands that you've been listening to as of late.
As of late, it's been Life Cycles. They're from San Antonio, Texas. They're probably my favorite Texas band ever. So if you haven't listened to them, listen to them. They have
Cool.
a new EP called Creature of Darkness. It's fucking badass. Other than that, Fuming Mouth's new record.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that shit hits. And then what else I've been listening to? I mean, obviously I've been listening to Kublai Khan's new record nonstop.
Oh, yeah.
That thing is real good.
Those boys know how to write a heavy record, am I right?
Yeah, that's one of those bands. It's just like, dude, like they just get angrier and angrier with every release, and I just don't understand how you can do that.
It's because Matt keeps getting bigger.
Fuck that fool. He don't get bigger. He's getting smaller. It's illusion.
Dude, listen, I remember playing with them for the first time in Gadsden, Alabama in 2011.
Yeah.
I saw them and I remember the show, I remember where we were at, I remember the whole nine, and I remember sitting there and watching these dudes and being like, yo, this band is 100% going to be something, because they were so obnoxiously heavy, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking nuts. And I'm glad those boys are doing well. I love Matt, I love the rest of those dudes, so yeah, that's definitely a record that everybody else should check out.
100%. Speaking of which, he hit me up about bike stuff, so he's gonna start getting into bike shit too, which is cool.
Well, yeah, he does. I mean, he does the knife thing, So I mean, shit, that goes hand in hand. He could just sell knives to bikers,
Yep.
But hey, listen, man, I do appreciate you coming on and hanging out for an hour and bullshitting. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, brother. I appreciate you, man.
Anytime, dude.
Alrighty, bye-bye.
All right, everybody. Again, that was Andrew from I Am. You could check him out, Instagram.com/LXChapo. You could check out his band on Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, every other social media platform. You could also check out his company, Carnal Desires, on Etsy. Before I head out, I want to thank everybody for the continued support for Tombstone Hardware over the last 7 years. It's definitely been kind of hard to keep up with just because of my touring schedule and all the other things that I'm doing. Everybody seems to be still stoked on it, so I'm glad to be able to do this and continue on with the company. I'm going to try my best to be pretty consistent with the podcast. I'll be putting episodes out every 2 weeks with different friends that are touring or friends that ride motorcycles and whatnot, so stay tuned, and I will see you guys next time.